Okay, with that, I want to bring up Alejandra to close us out.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so in a few minutes we will be boarding our shuttle buses back to the hotel, hopefully getting ourselves pepped up for this evening. So I want to do a couple of things. First of all, thank all the speakers. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, your generosity, and sharing your knowledge, and hopefully picking this up after we've all gone back to our YWCAs, because this is the real task. You know, it's great to convene, it's great to have these one-time conversations, but I'm not about one-offs, and I'm not about episodic gatherings. So the question that I'm going to do a couple of things. What have we learned? We learned that our facilities are core to our mission. Our foremothers knew that very well. They were real estate developers before I believe the term was even created. They bought buildings, they designed buildings, they financed buildings, they managed buildings. And how did we lose that? So we need to go back to our core as an organization. We have a lot to learn, clearly. The more we learn, the more we realize we really don't know much. So that is going to be a hard process, but one that I think will be very beneficial to us. We also learned that our facilities and our trademark are invaluable. Right? When you walk into the YWCA in Brooklyn, in Richmond, you feel you are in a time capsule because there's so much richness there in terms of our history and our legacy. And that is something you cannot put a price to. But our trademark is also incredibly invaluable. When we say we are the YWCA, particularly in these days, we come at a premium, right? We are validators that what we do is really to support women, girls, families, and communities. So let us not cheapen our trademark. We have to really own it and make sure that we value it at every stage. So you will see more about our trademark. There are a lot of YWCA's foundations out there. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know whether they're even aligned with our mission. It's something that has been put in the back burner, but it's creeping up to bite us. And I do invite us to have a conversation, but you will hear more about that because those are legal matters that we have put to the side, but we need to bring them back. A couple of other things. We've learned that it's all in the negotiation and in the contract. So it's all about that conversation of what are the terms of the engagement, what are we willing to give or take or compromise, but those contracts that we go into must be really, really paid attention to. And then the other thing I'll tell you is we are on a path of growth and expansion. It may feel like right now we're stabilizing and we may need to prune, but I want you to think about where will we be in 2023 when we turn 165? Where will we be 50 years from now? And where will we be 160 years from now? That's not insurmountable dreaming. It's actually very, very, something that's very tangible to us. But we need to build the path to get there. Now, a couple of things of what's next. And that's up to you. We have put out a survey. It would be great to have an advisory council. As you all have seen, there is a lot of knowledge even within our network, right? Whether it's calling Martha, calling Shannon. I mean, there is so much knowledge just among us. But we also need to attract some really high-powered individuals in the space. And an advisory council could be the source. I'm not saying it's the only one, but I want you to think about it. We will be looking at possible consultants in this area that we, YWCA USA, could probably engage and make them available to you at hopefully at small cost, but something that at least you have available to you. I'm a little cautious about putting out the names of firms or recommending firms because that can open up a lot of liabilities. But I do invite, I would put a list out, and then you are all required to do your own due diligence. Your uniqueness will determine what that contract looks like. I'll also share with you that in the world of crazy ideas, we convinced our board of directors that we want to invest in a YWCA university. And what does that mean? That means creating modules of different things that we all need, whether it's what does a gold standard childcare service look like, and what are the steps, what are the type of programs, webinars, discussion points. This could also even have some credit, college credits that you can get. But it's a concept of how do we learn once we get into these positions, because we come with what we know, and that's about it. I mean, as leaders and as individuals who have large staff, we need to raise the level of understanding, expertise, background of our own staff. Because we are a nonprofit, we can't compete with the marketplace in terms of salaries, but we can compete in terms of the quality of our workplace, what we learn, how much opportunities for growth we provide. So there's a lot to be determined here. I do ask that please engage. This is not just a one-time deal. We will have more conversations as we lead up to the June conference, our national conference. We will have a lot of issues to contend with, but I think at least we began this conversation. I love buildings. I really do. I call myself a closet architect because I love building, and every time I've gone to one of the YWCAs, it's remarkable. It's the beauty, it's the sense of community, it's the spirit of so many people who have contributed there. We are looking at several law firms because the legal matters that relate to facilities and real estate is important. But one thing that I will take away from this is I thought we needed real estate and legal services, but now I realize that we really need somebody who knows the ins and outs of the tax system. Because with this new tax reform, it is the Christmas season, but not necessarily for us. The nonprofit community will see a decrease in charitable givings. We will see a lot of twists and turns for which we are not prepared for. So there is a lot to contend with as this tax reform goes into effect. But also, as we learned, lots of tax credits that we could probably leverage. And finally, we are in Washington, D.C., the largest landlord in perhaps the world, right? When you look at not only Veteran Affairs, but the General Services Administration, Post Office, I mean, the federal government owns a lot of real estate. And there are multiple ways that they're trying to also diversify the use of that real estate as well as the revenues of that real estate. So there's a lot to contend with. I will stop here and give you some directions for tonight. We are celebrating 160 years. So I invite you. I invite you to get to know one another, to really build a sisterhood. You'll meet many individuals from the DC space. I would like to apologize on behalf of Congress, but they did change the schedule on us. They were supposed to be in session this week, hence why we chose this date. But clearly there is an election looming, so they're all campaigning back in their respective districts. But we will have some amazing folks that are our national partners, members and staff from Congress, as well as other supporters in our community. So we will have a wonderful time. Lastly, I will leave you with this. I excused myself a little bit earlier today because the Smithsonian is doing a wonderful project, and they want to capture the YWCA's story. So I will send you, and what they want to do is they want to include the YWCA story in all of their 19 museums. Wow. So I told them, how wonderful would it be to have an exhibit just on, and that's just a small indication of how can we leverage someone else to be able to brand ourselves anew without letting go of our history, but really positioning us for our future. And that's what I would love to leave you with. We are repositioning ourselves for our future. To the extent that YWCA is also reorganizing it. YWCA USA is reorganizing itself to better serve you. We welcome every feedback. Productive and constructive feedback is always welcome. So I'm looking forward to tonight, but I'm mostly looking forward to the next few months as we lead up to our national conference, because we have a lot to do and a lot to build, and you are all great partners. So thank you very much.